In this video, I'm going to talk about how I lost 20 pounds and became a bikini competitor at age 52. Hello fam, and welcome to my channel. My name's Melissa Neal and I am an expert in fitness and weight loss for women over the age of 40. And if you like the sound of that, please give this video the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more videos like this. Before we get into the meat of this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about my background and what made me go on this journey, because it's a pretty unusual journey for somebody my age, isn't it? What happened age 48 is I ended up getting divorced and I went through quite a traumatic marriage breakdown. And I'm not going to talk about the detail of that in this video, because it wouldn't be fair on everyone involved, and especially not my kids. But what I will say is it had a profound effect on me emotionally and mentally, and that's when I started on my fitness journey. So part of the reason of going on the fitness journey wasn't anything physical. It was about getting mental stability. So you probably are aware that physical activity is just as good for your mental health as it is for your physical health. And I know that people with depression, it's often prescribed to them now to go on some sort of fitness journey or take up regular exercise or do a new activity. And that's exactly what I did. So I took up CrossFit. And every day I would arrive outside in the morning, because I think I did it most days or 4 or 5 times a week at the time. And often I would be in floods of tears outside. I was an emotional wreck. And it was something that helped me get through every day, because at the time I found it really difficult to even get out of bed in the morning. And so that was something I could look forward to, actually doing the challenges, because it is a very, very challenging form of exercise and it's very demanding. So it's quite difficult to think of anything else when you're actually doing that hours class. I'm not going to describe it here, but it's something you can check out if you want to. And I don't do it anymore. But certainly it was a real help at the time. So I think it's about 3 years ago now, I swapped that out to actually focus on weightlifting purely, because there is a bit of weightlifting in CrossFit, and move over to bodybuilding. And meanwhile, the other thing that was going on for me psychologically is physically, I never thought I was good enough. I thought at sort of 48, 49 years old, I was over the hill, and I had a real low self-esteem and low body confidence. And I thought, and this is probably wrong now looking back on it, that going on a fitness journey and actually looking really, really fit was going to somehow improve me as a person. And I think to some extent it has improved me as a person, but it's really about your mindset, which I talk about a lot, that's going to make the massive difference. So yeah, I had a really low self-esteem, was not happy with the way that I looked at all physically. And you can see the pictures. I actually didn't look that bad. I looked pretty good for somebody who was in their late 40s, but it just wasn't enough. And that's why I wanted to go on that fitness journey. At the end of this video, I'm going to share with you whether I kept the weight off and what are my next steps. So when I turned 40, everything started to get a bit more difficult to stay in shape, and I tried so many different strategies, and by then I'd had 3 children and nothing was really working. Does that sound familiar? I was starting to put on a bit of middle-aged spread and getting fat in places that I hadn't done before, and yet I was exercising quite a lot. I used to do running, I trained for a half marathon, I was lifting weights, although I wasn't prioritising lifting weights, and from time to time I was sort of watching what I eat, but not seriously watching what I eat. And then at age 48, I decided I really wanted to get into the best shape of my life. And I tried several different kinds of diets. I tried intermittent fasting. I was training really, really hard. I was going to the gym most days of the week. And I still wasn't getting into quite the shape that I wanted to get in. So I want to share that journey with you that I took. I used 5 simple strategies to help me lose 20 pounds. I weighed 127 pounds in April 2019 and I got down to 106 pounds in November 2019. So I want to share everything that I've learned during that weight loss journey with you. And there were 5 simple steps that I took that I think made a massive difference, because you've got to remember, I was exercising before. I was exercising, I was dieting, I was tracking everything I was doing, but I still wasn't losing the weight. So how did I do it? How did I go from 127 pounds to 106 pounds, which is 58 kilos, to 48 kilos? The first step, the number 1 step, was lifting heavy weights. Now, I'll be honest with you, I took up weight training age 48 and went into the gym almost every day. But the strategies that I was using before, so I wasn't eating around my weightlifting times, which is really, really important, taking in carbohydrate before and after you've trained. And I probably wasn't working hard enough while I was there or lifting hard enough. So what I did every time that I went into the gym, and this is what made a really, really big difference, is I worked extremely hard. I made sure the intensity was really, really high in terms of my weightlifting. I was increasing the weight every time I went in the gym, and if I couldn't increase the weight, I would increase the difficulty in some way. So it might be an extra rep or not so much rest between sets, that kind of thing. Finding a way to increase the intensity so every time you go in the gym, you're actually progressing. And I would do a full weightlifting program of training about 5 or 6 times a week. Leading up to November, there weren't any rest days at all. So that was really, really important. It's training really, really hard and being really effective when you're there. I wasn't training for any longer than an hour at each session, maybe a little bit over an hour on leg day, an hour and 10 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes. But what you've got to do is make sure that those sessions really, really count. So that's heavy weightlifting, but a really, really intense workout. The number 2 thing, and probably one of the most important aspects of how I lost 20 pounds, was eating right. So before I was successful with the weight loss, I was actually tracking my calories. I was doing intermittent fasting, which I've dropped now. I do 5 or 6 meals a day. But if you do intermittent fasting, that's absolutely great. But I just found that switching up to 5 or 6 meals a day worked better for me in terms of my metabolism. So in terms of my eating, it's really, really important that I was in a calorie deficit. That's the first thing. But then it's also about calculating your macros or your macronutrients. So that's your balance of protein, carbohydrates and fats. And my protein intake was pretty high, and it is still pretty high. So as a guide, you should be taking in 1 gram of protein for every pound in body weight, but I would say probably mine was a bit more. So I've just told you at the start of it, I was around 127 pounds, and I'm probably taking in something like 150 grams of protein. And this might be the surprising thing, I was also eating a substantial amount of carbohydrate. You need carbohydrate to be able to lift heavy weights in the gym, and the objective was to put some muscle on. So in order to do that, you do need carbohydrate, and my carbohydrate ranges from anything from 200 grams to 300 grams of carbohydrate per day. So, you know, that's not a small amount of carbohydrate. However, on my non-weightlifting days, the carbohydrates came right down to something around 50 grams of carbohydrates. So that's another strategy to sort of think about. And I also had a healthy balance of good fats, which are avocado, olive oil, nuts and nut butter. I started off at the start of this journey somewhere in the region of 1900 calories per day, and then it gradually tapered down. So by the time I was competing in the show in November, that went down to 1600 calories, which is quite low for somebody really active. What I was getting like was actually stage lean, which is a different level of leanness than just looking good on the beach. It's really, really lean. And the category that I was ending up competing in as well, it's not called bikini, where you need a little bit of body fat on you. It's a category called fitness, where you actually need to be a bit leaner because you need your muscles to stand out a bit. So I did have to get quite lean. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that you need to get that lean if you're not going on stage. So you may not need to take your calories so low, because the idea is you need to keep your calories up as high as possible and still lose weight, because the lower that you take them, that's what's going to screw your metabolism basically. So it's always a good idea to try and keep them as high as you can at the same time as losing weight. So that was the eating plan, and I've linked below a free eating plan that I've developed that you can download, and that's free. The number 3 thing that I implemented, and this is really important, is I took out cheat meals. So literally I didn't have any cheat meals for 5 months. So between June and November 2019, no cheat meals. Now I was an absolute animal on cheat meal day, and I would really binge and overeat. So this made a massive difference, because cheat meals are still calories. They're going to add to your overall calorie intake over the week. So once you start taking them out, and I found this with me, it really did have an impact. My actual calorie average over the week would have gone right down, because I wasn't having any of those cheats and treats that you have. It can be psychologically really difficult because you haven't got anything to look forward to. But the problem with me is when it comes to cheat meals, I really overindulge and binge. So for me, it's actually better not to have them in at all. If you can look at your cheat meals and actually record how much you're eating and how many calories, you might be surprised. So it's quite a good idea to take them out, or if you don't feel you can take them out altogether, maybe just do them alternate weeks. My number 4 strategy was cardio, but you've got to be really, really careful with cardio because you can end up doing too much and doing yourself a lot of damage and not getting any results. The main thing with cardio is to actually keep it down to a minimum and focus on getting your weightlifting done. If you can do your weightlifting, that's what's going to get you results for women over the age of 40. Now, I started off in July 2019 with just an hour a week of cardio. That's not very much at all, is it? And then closer to when I was actually trying to drop those last few pounds is when it started tapering up to around about an hour a day, and I would do 30 minutes of that fasted in the morning. If you do your cardio fasted in the morning, that's what I did. That's going to have a massive impact, but it mustn't be detrimental to your weightlifting. So what you need to do is actually do your weightlifting at a different time of day after you've eaten. Otherwise, if you try to do your weightlifting straight after your fasted cardio, you're not going to have the energy to do it. So that's really important. And then I would do another half an hour of cardio after my weightlifting. So that's what's got that extra 5 or 6 pounds, where I got from 111 pounds to around about 106 pounds, which is about 48 kilos. My number 5 strategy, and the most important strategy of all, and I talk about it a lot if you watch my other videos, is mindset. Mindset will make the difference. And before I started on this journey, I never believed in a million years that I was going to get into the type of physique where I'd be getting up on stage and competing with other women in a bikini. I just thought there was no way on this earth, and that is the wrong attitude, because there's nothing special about me. I don't have a good physique. I don't have good genes naturally. It's all stuff that I've worked towards. But I have the same opportunity as anyone else to make it into that condition if I really, really try. And I got into world champion position because I had the right mindset. I really started to believe as I progressed into this fitness journey in 2019 that I really had the capability of actually winning or placing in a competition and being really, really competitive. The thing that was the big change for me in 2019 was getting rid of that self-doubt. Self-doubt is a terrible thing that can really hold you back. If you believe in yourself, you can do absolutely anything. Every day that you get up, you're going to feel motivated to do that training and get into the condition that you need to be. Now, some days you are really, really tired. The level of exhaustion that I had was absolutely unbelievable because I got so lean. 1600 calories, probably quite low. I was really cold a lot of the time because when you get lean, you get freezing cold, believe it or not. And really tired because I was training twice a day, every day. So you are going to need to really, really dig deep. So having that self-belief and that mindset that you are going to achieve. Now, not everyone wants to do a bikini competition, but many people want to go on a weight loss journey, and the weight loss journey is absolutely about mindset, and that is the number one thing. If you can vision yourself that you're going to achieve your goal, whatever that is, you will do it. You set that goal and you work towards it. And once you've got the mindset in place that you are that person that you want to be, in that physical condition that you want to be, you will get there, because mindset is such a powerful thing. For me, in 2019, that was the thing that made the massive difference. So those are my 5 tips, and I promised you at the start didn't I, that I was going to tell you how I'm getting on now. You've probably guessed, you can see, I'm actually weighing about 116 pounds, which is 53 kilos. So definitely up from that stage weight of 106 pounds or 48 kilos. However, that stage weight wasn't sustainable in the long term. As I've said, I was really lean, and getting stage lean is just a different level of leanness to anything that anybody could experience. I mean, I got the leanest that I've ever done in my entire adult life. It's literally quite uncomfortable being that lean, and it's probably not very healthy to be that lean every day. So what I did is reverse diet out of that, and I had a coach at the time who helped me reverse diet out of that. And now I'm at a comfortable 53 kilos, as I've said, which is 116 pounds. And I'm now working my way to a photo shoot, which is going to be in about 8 weeks' time. So I do need to now get lean again. And I'm hoping you're going to join me on that journey of getting lean, and I'm going to post videos every week where I'll give you an update on where I am. As I said, I'm 116 pounds or 53 kilos. Now my measurements are, I've got a 25-inch waist and around about a 37-inch hip. So I'm planning to get down to a 24, maybe 24 and a half. That's what I had before, 24.5-inch waist, and then about a 35-inch hip. And I'm going to take the sort of photos of the progression so that you can see how that all works. And I'm going to document the kind of diet I'm undertaking, the exercise regime that I'm taking, so you can see exactly what I do and therefore what you need to do to get in that kind of condition. So I really hope you join me in that journey. It's only 8 weeks, so it's not a massive amount of time. And you'll know, because we're sort of in quarantine, or in the UK we call it lockdown, we can't do any of the workouts at the gym, so they're all home workouts. That's what I've been getting by on for the last 4 weeks now, and it's absolutely fine. You can reach all your goals, do strength training, do everything with home workouts. So that's the plan. That's what I'm going to do, and you can follow me on the journey with the diet routine as well. So if you like the sound of that, please do give this video the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.